Greetings everybody. In this video, I'll be discussing the new moon in Aquarius on January the 29th, 2025. We have a new moon every 4 weeks in each of the 12 signs. Wherever the new moon falls or shines in your horoscope, or how it impacts your sun sign, which I'm going to go through in a minute, is the kind of the overall emphasis for that new moon. If you're an Aquarius, especially if your birthday is within a day or so of January the 29th, then the new moon is near your birthday. And I do a chart called the solar return chart, which is where all the planets are in your birthday. And this chart will describe those next 12 months. Now, for Aquarius, to have a new moon on your birthday is not very common. And it's going to indicate some major new beginnings. In fact, days before I started doing my first astrology readings many decades ago, it was right after a new moon on my birthday. And at that point, I had been studying astrology. I would be talking about what different planets mean and what sign Saturn is transiting. But I was still tutoring under a master teacher in New York City, and I had never at that point done an official reading from A to Z. And right after the new moon on my birthday, so major new beginnings, within 2 days or so, I get a phone call from somebody I used to work with, where I was always talking about astrology, and she said, "I want you to do my astrology chart." And I said, I've never done one. I don't do readings. And she says, "I will pay you and get over here." And then that was the beginning. And within a couple of weeks, just out of the blue, several different people, just who I didn't even know, but heard through other people that I was very passionate about astrology, and out of nowhere, off and running, there was my destiny. So if your birthday falls within a day or two of this January the 29th, a significant major new path can open up for you. Now, this Aquarius new moon is trining, or the best flow of energy, to Jupiter. That amplifies optimism, expansion, and innovative ideas. If you look at the chart that I've posted, you're going to see these red marks. Where the sun and the moon are aligned, that's the new moon. It's in the second sector, but that was cast for Los Angeles, which is where I live. But the sun and the moon, you'll see I have this red line that forms like half of a triangle to Jupiter. Now, what's interesting is, since we're having this, one of the worst natural disasters in the history of Southern California, where the Pacific Palisades is half burning down, all the beach houses on Malibu, if you can imagine, have all burnt down. And then in Altadena, which is on the east side of Los Angeles, and both of these communities are on the northern side of Los Angeles. So I was spared, because I'm right in the center, down in the whole Beverly Hills, West Hollywood period, called the Flatlands. But up in the hills is where the fires are rampant. So here's the new moons I set for Los Angeles. And so that's on the 29th. So it is 2 weeks prior, or this 9th, 10th, 11th, is when the city was going up in flames. By the 29th, the next new moon, which we can use a great example for Los Angeles, the new moon is falling in the second house of income. So there's going to be a tremendous focus on money, of generating financial funds, of spending a lot of money for new infrastructure. And that sun moon, you'll see a red line that goes to the middle of the chart and then feels like half of a triangle. So that's called a trine configuration of the new moon in Aquarius in the second house of income, trining Jupiter in Gemini, a fellow air sign. Jupiter is prosperity and luck and support, and it's in the sixth house. The sixth house sector deals with service, and so many people are being of great service, helping those in need, housing people, feeding people. But this is going to generate a lot of work activity and volunteer work. That's the Jupiter in the sixth, in harmony with the sun, with the new moon, all these new beginnings, but the major focus on money. So if you are in Aquarius, now, if you're born around the 29th, as I said, in my own life, becoming an astrologer, there could be a significant new direction. Well, if you lost your house, if you're in LA, you've lost your house, and you're born around the 29th of January, there would definitely be a significant new path that you're going to have to go down. But with the new moon trining Jupiter, there would be most of you, people always fall through the cracks, but most of you would be giving a lot of financial support. Now, also back to this chart, I have brackets of red just on the just above the sun moon is Mercury and Pluto, also in Aquarius. Mercury is information, curiosity, negotiation. Pluto rules the underworld, goes very deep, so I'll be discussing that. And then further south, below the sun-moon alignment, is Venus aligned with Neptune. And Venus is that planet of love, desire, creativity, and Neptune is all this empathetic, compassionate, altruistic energy, bringing a lot of spirituality, a lot of compassion with helping others. Venus, Neptune can be triggering a lot of unconditional love. Now, before I start breaking down the new moon in Aquarius and how this affects all the 12 signs, the communication Mercury aligning with Pluto, and that Venus, that loving Venus, creative Venus aligning with Neptune. Before I start breaking all that down, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell before, so you don't, miss out on any of the latest postings. Now, Aquarius is very progressive, innovative, thinks out of the box. It's very focused on community, humanity, our personal freedoms, technology. All those qualities of Aquarius is going to be very much emphasized. So this Aquarius new moon, trining expansive, optimistic, lucky Jupiter over the next 4 weeks, but especially from the new moon to the full moon. The full moon will bring a lot of these matters to light, or a time of culmination. The full moon is always 2 weeks after the new moon. So this Aquarius new moon, trining Jupiter, amplifies, that's the Jupiter, optimism, expansion, and innovative ideas. This is a time of breakthroughs, that's the Aquarius energy, particularly in areas related to community, technology, and long-term goals. The trine to Jupiter infuses confidence and good fortune, encouraging bold steps and the collective efforts. Jupiter rules the world at large, and I wouldn't be surprised if so much of the world is going to be coming to the rescue of these tens of thousands of people who have lost their homes. And a lot of people, because California, with insurance and insurance companies have been ending coverage, just letting go of coverage because there's been so many from earthquakes to floods and fires. And so unless you spend a great deal of money, a lot of people weren't adequately covered with insurance. So there's a lot of tremendous desperation and sadness. But Aquarius represents community, and it represents the global community. And trining Jupiter will be all this support. And Jupiter also rules foreign energies. So I do believe that a great deal of financial support is going to come in to help everybody. But where they're going to need the most help is rebuilding, and also rebuilding all the infrastructure and all the gasoline lines and electricity lines and all the mobile towers. All that needs to be fixed. So a tremendous amount, and I wouldn't be surprised if major companies in foreign countries will be coming into the Southern California area to really help. So that new moon in Jupiter, 2 weeks after the devastating fires, is very encouraging. And I didn't even think about that I made this chart that I posted set for Los Angeles. It's just that my software is set for Los Angeles, so I didn't even think about it. I just put in the coordinates for the new moon, and then there it's Los Angeles, and there I'm thinking, oh wow, we really need that supportive, generous Jupiter energy for the new moon. Now, meanwhile, communication Mercury aligns with Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to intensify, that's the Pluto, communication and thought processes, that's Mercury. Conversations are going to take on a probing, transformational quality, making it an ideal time for deep research, uncovering hidden truths, or negotiating with a strategic edge. There's the potential for powerful revelations, for mental clarity, but also a need to avoid obsessive thinking or manipulation. Mercury is what we're interested and curious about. And with the Pluto rules the underworld. So there may be a great interest in psychology or astrology. Maybe a lot of people are going to reach out to psychics, astrologers, to try to give some hope about, how they're going to survive over these coming months and years. A lot of people may be very depressed, no kidding. And Pluto rules the unconscious. So a lot of people will be also into therapy, counseling, and Mercury just wants to go very deep into the unconscious and what's hidden. And then lastly, Venus conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. And as I said, Venus in Pisces is in its best sign. It's called its exalted sign. And then Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So this Venus-Neptune is going to be very romantic, incredibly creative. But the best part with this Aquarius new moon trining Jupiter, the Venus-Neptune is all this compassion and charity, and spirituality. So the Venus-Neptune in Pisces is going to enhance compassion, imagination, a spiritual connection, making it an excellent moment for artistic endeavors and emotional healing, what Los Angeles really desperately needs. However, this alignment also calls for discernment, as it can blur the Neptune and even Pisces energies. It can blur boundaries and foster unrealistic expectations, which makes me think there's going to be, unfortunately, and they're mentioning it all day long on the newscast, is there's going to be bogus scams and charities trying to steal your money. And so there's all that unrealistic, that disappointing, that not real energy of Neptune that is covering up for being very helpful. Together, these aspects creates a dynamic blend of innovation, depth, and inspiration. Now, Aquarius is, if you are an Aquarius or an Aquarius rising, there's a major emphasis on new beginnings, especially if you live in Southern California, or if you have family from Los Angeles and it's upsetting you, really impacting you, that's the Aquarius. And if you're born within a day or two or so of the 29th, a really significant new beginning can unfold. Now, Aquarius is an air sign. So the other air signs will be very favorably aspected, which is Libra and Gemini, but especially Gemini, because lucky expansive Jupiter, which is saving the day for many people, the Jupiter is in Gemini. So if you are a Gemini, that Gemini expansive, lucky, generous Jupiter energy is really impacting your sun sign or your rising sign. Now, Aquarius is also opposite, which is a relational dynamics, with Leo. So that can bring up a lot of challenging issues with partnerships, with relationships. So there's a bit of tension. But Aquarius also forms a square, which is this inner dynamic conflict with Taurus and Scorpio. So that new moon in Aquarius can be causing a lot of stress and tension for Scorpio's rising sun sign or Taurus. The moon in Aquarius is forming a 150-degree angle, it's called an inconjunct, to Virgo or Cancer. The 150-degree angle can trigger health issues if you're older or if you have health issues, and this especially for the Los Angeles area is all these asthma and emphysema and lung conditions. But generally, what the 150-degree angle means, if it's impacting your chart, can mean you have a problem. You just don't know really what to do about it, so it can become a bit overwhelming. Aquarius, being an air sign, is also going to be very favorable for Aries, a fire sign, and Sagittarius, the other fire sign. So air is the fuel to heat up the fire of Aries and Sagittarius. So the best signs could be Aquarius, depending on how it might be impacting the rest of your horoscope, but it could bring in some significant new path in life. But it's going to be very harmonious with Libra and Gemini is going to be very favorable, but also Aries and Sagittarius. the signs that need to breathe and to not push so hard would be the tensions of Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. And lastly is Capricorn in Pisces, because Capricorn is the sign prior to Aquarius, and Pisces is the sign just after Aquarius. And the sign next to the Aquarius is it's not overwhelmingly stressful, but there's a certain amount of things being off, being a bit somewhat stressful. So this is how that Aquarius energy is impacting your horoscope. But if you look to your own chart, that new moon is at 9 degrees of Aquarius. And if you have planets within, like the Jupiter is 11 degrees of Gemini, so you have planets around a degree or two of 11 degrees of Gemini, or 9 degrees of Aquarius, or 10 degrees of Libra, the other air sign. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for a lot of generosity and luck. The Venus-Neptune is certainly going to trigger a lot of people's empathy, charity, and compassion. And that Mercury-Pluto, on one level, could certainly cause many people to want to explore psychology, therapy, astrology, to go into some real deep understanding of what does all this mean, or how is it impacting my life. So I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next time, be safe and well.